This is a reading for Lily. I'm going to be using the Renaissance Tarot. It's a lovely deck with somewhat gilded cards. I don't know if you can see that or not. Renaissance art. It's very beautiful. And it reads very well. Slightly oversized deck. So we'll begin. Okay, Lily, the first card is Queen of Swords, and that represents you. The card that crosses you, that is the Eight of Cups. It's a card of love and emotions. Your past foundation is the Five of Coins. Your recent past is the Fool. Your current situation is the Knight of Swords. Oh, that's a conflict card. Near future is the Chariot. This is the card that represents you, what you think about your environment and the things you do. And this is Temperance. This card represents your friends and your family, people you associate with, what they think of you and your environment and how you interact with them. That is Strength. A lot of major cards here. This is very unusual. This is your Goal card, and this is the Two of Cups, another emotional card. Your Outcome card, which is what represents what will happen if you stay on the road that you're on right now. And that's the Devil card. It's amazing there are so many major arcana cards in here. Okay. Let's see. Wow. The card that represents you, the Queen of Swords. You're a person who's very intelligent. You like to work alone, or at least projects that you work on, you want to have the major hand in them to do the completion yourself, to oversee anything that's done, because a product that the outcome represents you. It's also a card of graciousness, and it is a card of somebody who's an intuitive, somebody who has prescience and can see things kind of in advance. I don't know if you've ever had anything what's known as deja vu. Pardon me, we have a lot of fires going on around here and I'm very choked up. Anyway, that's a card that shows that you have a natural spiritual nature, as well as being very creative. The card that covers you, which is a concern right now, is the Eight of Cups. It is an emotional card. The Eight of Cups typically represents a journey or a turning point in your life, not necessarily travel, but you're at a peak point. You could go one way or you could go the other way, or you could continue doing what you are doing right now, and then something that you're creating or involved in could take a good turn and move forward for you, so that where your life is now, there would be some changes, good changes, a recognition, that sort of thing. And if you're a creative person, that could very well mean that whatever it is that you're doing creatively may take off. The Five of Coins, which is your past foundation, that has some kind of a reference to financial. Typically, a Five of Coins means generosity to and from others, a lot of sympathy. It also represents maybe a confused childhood. As a foundation card, it tells me that maybe as you were growing up, people did not understand you. When I'm looking in reference to your past and your personality, it says that there were many times when you felt loved, unloved, loved, unloved, and that was a conflict for you. Obviously, I don't know the exact details of your childhood, but to me it says that maybe there were times when you felt lonely and other times when you felt like somebody really, really cared, but that fluctuated so much it was very confusing to you. With the personality you have, being a person who likes to do things on your own, maybe being alone, you have to have a lot of time for self-evaluation, that sort of thing. You like to take the time to think about what's going on in your life, and that comes from your early years. The conflicts, the confusion that you experienced, you spent a lot of time dreaming, and because of your creative nature, you might have been thought to be a little bit different than other children, not introverted so much as internal. You thought about everything you did and everything you want, and most of that was on the creative side. So you were very intelligent and very capable, but your focus was not on what other people, maybe your family or the people who were taking care of you, expected from you. You wanted to do your thing, and I think that might have brought about a little bit of rejection, but you stayed with it, and that created this personality where you perceive things. People are a study for you. When you look at people and you study them, not just the way they look, but you have a way of seeing into them, recognizing who they really are. You aren't confused by people who put up a face or a block because you see past that. That's intuition, and it's kind of a rarity, so that's a good thing. Your recent past, which is the Fool card represents somebody who moves forward sometimes without thinking about what they're doing, who maybe needs to stop and seriously consider options and possibilities before taking that next step, being prepared. Creative people see the big picture. They aren't always as focused as they could be. They see opportunities and options and things they'd like to do, places they'd like to go, the things that they're creating. They're focused on that and not a lot else. Not necessarily in your work, but in the things that you do for yourself, the creativity outlet that you have. That would be maybe artwork. A person who has this kind of a nature and this kind of a history with what I see about your personality is typically an artist of some sort. Field that you would do really well in would be humanitarian. I don't know if what your zodiac sign is, but it tends to be people who are Aquarian. I feel kind of a kindred spirit here. Your recent past shows that you did take some steps to try and do something new, something that you wanted to do or something that's unusual, and found some success in it due to your creativity and your intuition. In fact, it surprised you, which is a great thing. A creative mind oftentimes goes from one thing to another until they find something that feels most successful for them, and then they stay with that for a while. But often creative, intuitive minds don't complete things. When the interest runs out, you try something else. Your current situation, which is the Knight of Swords. Swords are a conflict kind of card. And the Knight represents somebody who has foresight and a lot of courage in taking a move to do something new. From what I can see here, you would be a water spirit. And the things that you really are interested in are strong things. The Strength card shows that. You have goals that you want to reach that really are beyond what your work is, your current life. So you have an outside creative outlet. You're hoping for success on that, and the Knight of Swords says there is a little bit of conflict there. You don't know exactly what direction you want to go. You've done a little bit of this, you've done a little bit of that. People recognize that creative spirit in you, and they know that you're doing really well at what you do, and they tell you that. But you want to do more. You really want to step it up. In fact, that would be the direction you'd take away from where your work is now. Although you enjoy what you do, you're good at what you do. From what I can see, you would be an organized person at work, possibly somebody who everyone relies on. You have a tendency to pull things together, keep track of things. That would be the kind of work you'd do. But that's not your interest. Your interest is on the creative side. Your creative nature comes through. However, you haven't taken a major step yet. You've taken small steps and had some successes, but I see from this if there's a conflict. Maybe it's just not that you need a little more confidence in what you do, although you're a very confident person, and I would say probably a bit of a rebel. Nothing wrong with that. That comes from your nature of being creative and also working on your own and being highly intelligent. That's the typical direction that people with that kind of a persona have, is a nature to be a rebel. You want to step beyond what other people do. You want to be an individual, and you are. People also notice that about you, and they appreciate your strength. You're not just mentally strong, but you're also physically strong, from what I can see here. Your near future, excuse me for a moment, please. Oh, this is awful. The Chariot, and like I said, it's really surprising, all of these major cards that you have in here. That shows some strong things are going on in your life. But in the near future, the Chariot card, well, that's a card of greatness, or making a name for yourself. Hard work gets you to that point. People notice you, and you do have a lot of success as long as you stay with what you're doing and you don't get distracted. Your creativity in all of this stands out more than anything. I think that's the major focus I see here in your cards, is your creative nature, your artistic ability, your rebel personality, your do what you want to do and get there in the direction you want to take. But this is a positive card in your near future. I don't know if you have some recognition right now or if you have some opportunities you've been looking into, but what's coming up for you is going to be probably a major life change. I don't see it so much in your work, although it may have something to do with the work that you do. I see it more on your creative side. Maybe you step up the game and you really get down into what you're doing and really get productive, is what I'm thinking. Being a water spirit and having your intuition, I don't know if you ever rely on things like a totem, a charm that you would wear, something that carries the energy with you, but I would think that probably a good totem for you would be a shark's tooth, because of your water spirit nature and because it's strength. In fact, if you could get, you may already have one, but if you could get one of the large, I can't even remember exactly what they call them, but one of the larger shark's teeth. Darn, it just doesn't come to me right now. But anyway, one that's been around for a few thousand years, and wear that. That's a strength that would be great for you in your creative nature. The card that represents you and how you see yourself and where you're at is Temperance. Well, Temperance is an interesting card, especially with your kind of personality. You negotiate things. You share your thoughts and your feelings with your friends. Competition isn't a big thing for you. You're one of those, I can work with you, let's do it together, and I can even work on the same thing with you and we'll make it better kind of thing. So you're good at planning and working together with people who have ideas, but you are an idea person yourself. You like unique things, unique color is a big thing in your life. Bright colors, colors that stand out because of your artistic nature. That's something that's part of your personality, is that brightness, that coming through, that uniqueness of yourself. And you appreciate your abilities, and you know that other people do too, although you do maybe lack the confidence sometimes as far as going into it professionally. But you're there, and I see you're working on that, so stay with that. That's a positive thing for you. It's a good direction for you to go. The Strength card. This is what other people see in you and see how you live and your lifestyle. And they find a virtue in you. They know you to be a true to yourself person and true to others. So you don't put that false front out there. People see you, you are who you are, and either they like you or you don't care. You want to be who you are, and you want people to see that, and if they take you for who you are, great. You'll open up and bring them right into your life, and that's a good quality. So much better than the false front that so many people put on, because you're real and you're authentic, and people see that in you, and that's very attractive to them. You're a patient person to a point, and then you're wholly impatient. If things go really well for what you're trying to do, people see that you handle things really well, but you have that edge. There is an edge, and that's part of your personality too. In people who have a strength in themselves that people see, it's just, you know what you want to get done, you know where it should be in this amount of time, and if it's not there, then you may have a little bit of an anger issue. I'm not saying on the big side, and I'm not saying that it comes out at others. You might internalize it because that's how you are. Your goal card up here, which is the Two of Cups, it's not a serious goal as far as love or anything, or gaining attention from somebody, because right now you're really into yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you're trying to do things, you're trying to create, you're trying to achieve. So the Two of Cups for you, I would say, is more like the beginning of an agreement with someone. You may be trying to work out with someone a way to show your artwork, maybe, or show your creative nature, the things that you've been doing. I don't know what kind of a show it would be. Maybe sell it, or have a show where people could see it, that sort of thing. In what I see here, that would be the tendency for you, is to build up a collection of your art and then hopefully display for others to appreciate and possibly to buy, that sort of thing. I don't see any major love in your life right now. You kind of like an alternative lifestyle, and that's a good thing for you. It fits in with your personality. If you do have any kind of love, it's probably more of a loving friendship rather than a serious natured marriage goal or anything like that. In fact, that's probably not in your nature right now. It's probably not one of your goals. Not that you don't intend, but... And your outcome card, which is the Devil, it shows that some of the direction you could take could be a downfall for you. Basically, you need to examine, and especially in your creative nature, you need to examine what it is you're doing and maybe step it up. It would be a crushing blow for you to have people critique your work and not have it be positive. It's been mostly positive from the feeling I get here, but I would say before you get your hopes up, you need to try something new, something different, something really daring. I think for you that would be a great route to go. For now, I think you've been pretty conservative, and I think what you need to do is go beyond conservative to really be noticed, to really make a splash. That would be a great direction for you to take. This is not such a bad card in what I'm seeing here. It's not like the downfall of your life or anything like that. It's more like a letdown if you don't step up what you're doing, because you have all of this really, how do I say this? You have all of this really big event type things that could happen in your life, and you have to be totally prepared if you're going to go off in a direction where you're successful and you achieve what you want to do. In your work, like I said, you would probably do best in humanitarian type work where you work with other people who are maybe philanthropists or something like that. I don't see you working in a lawyer's office or anything. Pardon me, and I don't see you working in a sales position. That would not be in your nature. Something like that you probably would not enjoy at all. But I see that you're solid where you're at. You have autonomy, which is good, and people do have expectations of you, and you do meet those expectations. In your job, you may not have a creative outlet like you do in your home away from work, because I see that's where your outlet is on your own and not in your work. I'm not saying you don't do things in your work. I'm saying that the artistic, intuitive person that you are comes out when you are alone doing what you do that you enjoy the most. There is something I want to do here. I want to take another 4 cards because I have a sense. Okay, King of Staves, wow. Another conflict card. Let me show you these before I lay them down. That's the King of Staffs. That is the 4 of Swords. King of Cups. My gosh. And the Page of Staffs. Okay. The question that came to mind for me is that you might be psychic. I'm seeing some of that in these cards, especially because everything that's popping up, for the most part, is based on events that you create for yourself. The King of Staffs. That's a loyal, kind of noble person. Somebody who has a lot of strength internally. And I would see that as somebody who, when you reach out and you touch someone, you, like I said earlier, recognize them for who they are. That is a very intuitive quality that you have, almost psychic. The Four of Swords. That's a conflict card, but in this case, what came to mind for me was how you could use that, how you could use your intuition, your sort of psychic ability, and it shows the Four of Swords is banishment in a way, meaning that you hold back. I'm not saying you're banished from anything. I'm saying you hold back and don't show people that you have this nature for fear of them rejecting you. You might do it surreptitiously. You know, people you talk to, you may meet a stranger and sit down and talk with them and instantly know things about them, and so you can say something to them that they instantly respond to, like you were friends for years. That sort of thing. The King of Cups, which is an emotional card. You're considerate, and you have a liberal sense of being, sense of yourself. You don't see that in others sometimes, and that might put you off. I think the people that you are attracted most to, that you see intuitively as those people that you can connect with, are going to be of that same mind and idea of being liberal. As far as your psychic abilities go, you recognize that kind of thing in another person instantly. It doesn't even have to be in their appearance. You just talk to somebody a few minutes and you would know that about them, whether they were a liberal or whether they were, you know, not open to things that are new, different ideas that might not be the current accepted thing in society, but something that, a path that only a few people would take. So that would be somebody that you would associate with easily. The Page of Staffs. That's like having a message come to you. And in this case, when I'm thinking about intuition and your psychic abilities, this page is sort of like your psychic connection. When I mentioned a totem earlier, a totem represents an internal ability to connect with something that's ethereal. And so this page would be like a water spirit for you, a water spirit that would be the go-between between you and the intuitions that you have. So you're making a connection there even though you don't know it. And I find that really interesting. I think I mentioned earlier that I felt a kindred spirit when I was reading your cards. I could feel your touch. and it's surprising to me because it's so very rare that that happens. Anyway, my suggestion to you is if you have any interest at all in something like this yourself, or in divination, or Your studies right now might be in art, but you might want to look a little bit more in the spiritual nature. I think you would find a resonance there that would surprise you, and it's possible you already have. I don't know, but um, if you've thought about it, I would say try that. I would say look into the spiritual aspects that you're interested in and see how far you can go, because I think you would be quite successful. In fact, I would really love to hear from you at some point if you do try that and if you do go that direction. Right now, this is what I see for you over the next couple of months, maybe up to 6 months. Like I said earlier, if you're working on a creative thing, take a little time to rethink what you're doing and do something a little bit more flamboyant, maybe. You're already doing something unique, I have a feeling, but you need to step it up and really open up your creative sight, much more than you ever have in the past. As a water spirit, you might even connect that to something of that nature and focus on that. Maybe really dig down deep and do something that's so unusual that it's startling. And for you, I think that would be a positive move. If you continue along the way you're going, you'll be fine, but you may have a disappointment in what you really want to accomplish. So with the strengths that you have internally and your intuition and your creative abilities and the intellect that you obviously have, think about what I've said here. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but for you, I can see a real success in doing the most unusual thing you've ever done in your life. So good luck with that. I hope this helps you. Thanks.